we'll put it like that.
Nice.
What's it like? I was actually there in attendance in Cleveland for Coe's first career NFL touchdown, which was awesome. And,
Awesome.
It was a great game. You could hear me on camera. I was just screaming, "Say it ain't so, Coe! Say it ain't so!" Sadly, from there, the game kind of went off the rails a little. That was the last high moment of that game, but it was a great game. Overtime loss, fun time.
Yeah.
How was that moment for you? Seeing the first, whether it was on TV, in person, wherever you were, seeing his first NFL touchdown. How was that?
Well, dude, I mean, we were at home because it was a away game. We don't travel to a lot of the away games because we can get into that later. But to watch that and to think I wished I was there live. So to have your video was so cool, and just say this is so cool. I mean, that was so cool for us. Catching it from Tom Brady, right? Like he's got the ball yet. I mean, first NFL touchdown means a lot, right? I mean, as a dad, this is so cool to see. And it was fun to watch. And, it didn't have the outcome we wanted, but still the same. What a memory! What a memory to have, right? So,
and honestly,
cool.
those. One of the best guests ever, the Buccateers in the house tonight. You guys hear him on Tampa radio all the time. He's one of the best in the business. My favorite personal in the business. That's why I'm elated tonight. Growing up in the Chicago area, you're used to sports radio. That's what gets me through the day. So this man does help get me through the day, I will say, with the Pat and Aaron show at work. Nothing like it. So it's incredible. It looks like we got Stunna bumbling in. I'm Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat Donovan.
It looks like Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like you got a little...
No, my camera's broke.
And he was trying to pull me in big time. And then I was like, dang, nothing happened with Indianapolis yet. Like, I really want to give Indy a chance. And then also I talked to Cody Bruton, once he took over Rich McCann, and still like, well, look, I was like, y'all just give me the opportunity to explore free agency, see what's going on, and then can I make us do it?
All right, everyone, you are tuned into the Buccateers with wide receiver Kalen Geiger, and we are about to have a great pod. This is the Buccateers. You're tapped in, and here we go. Howdy ho, howdy hey, how the hell is everybody? Welcome back into the Buccateers podcast. Sunday Funday here on the Buccateers. We got a lot to talk about in the wide world of sports. Some fun football convos on our hands before we get down to the nitty-gritty NFL draft talk here in the coming weeks. It's coming less than a month away until we find out who J-Lo's newest favorite Buccaneer is. No, I'm just kidding. He still has some left, some favorites left for the big J-Lo. But Buck Skull Gang in-house saying it should be a great show today. Thank you, buddy. It's a great day to have a great show indeed. We do appreciate that. And it is Sunday Funday with Cleve and me in the house. And Joey Nips, how the hell you doing? Not looking like Joey Rhodes, a little disappointed. I thought you'd have blonde hair. I thought you'd have your coat on the show. I thought you'd be ready to roll.
Oh, I will be when we get around WrestleMania time as we watch the Master take at his act. As J-Lo knows, he'll be getting his beaten down on by Randy Orton, but not at WrestleMania. So can't wait for all that. But other than that, it is a beautiful Sunday. Baseball's back. The final four teams are set. Kudos to all of them who made it, and I'm ready to rock and roll for today's show.
Yeah, we have sports on deck today. Baseball starts at 1:35 Eastern, a plethora of baseball games. We got a doubleheader of March Madness that takes you through the night as well. Just good day as a sports fan. We got bets that we have in store. And tomorrow, we get the great Todd Bowles at the media. I haven't seen official word, Zach, but our friends over at Real Bucks Talk did say they believe Todd Bowles speaks to the media tomorrow. So, when a head coach is speaking on a Monday, something important's in there, and that's the NFL draft, my friend. What's up with you?
Oh, not much, man. Can't say that I'm excited to hear Bowles speak. We're just going to hear
I had
more of the same,
Are you going to send him some milk and cookies?
No, I don't think so. I might send him base defense for dummies, but other than that, I won't be sending him any gifts. No, I'm preparing for the social media storm of everybody with their renewed fire Bowles because he doesn't say anything other than coach speak at the podium. So brace yourselves, boys.
Yeah, our Twitter. Good God, it's just going to come in waves. Tell Bowles to make a trade. I'll try. I don't really have the authority to, hey, if I get named to a front office gig here when Jason Light speaks Tuesday, maybe I could do that. But J-Lo, what say you? How you doing, brother? Bucs vibes. Baseball is in the air. Wrestling is heating up. Everything is just here. Second best time of year for sports.
Oh, absolutely. Except for the Rays bullpen. They keep crapping the bag, costing us games. So, that's all I can really say about the Rays on baseball. But great to have it back. Final Four is almost set. For the most part, congrats to Iowa getting eliminated. Bastard. Especially that little fucker. They did the little gator chomp when they're shaking hands. Glad that little bitch is crying. But anyway.
Holy cow.
Sorry, nah. That bullcrap he pulled the other night when he was gator chomping when they're shaking hands. I'm like, oh no. And then he started boo-hooing last night after losing. I'm like, loser. Anyway, but no, I'm excited. WrestleMania is around the corner as well. Looking forward to seeing Randy Orton kick Cody Rhodes' head off his shoulders. That's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully they'll be more creative and just get it done, please, for Joey's sake.
Unless it's like a Charlie Brown football type kick and he misses and spins around, and then you got a problem. But no, that's heating up as well. Just an amazing spring, second to the fall. But spring is a great time of year for sports. But fall's unbeatable. You get football, college football. You get the end of the MLB season / World Series run. You get the beginning of NBA. You get the beginning of NHL. You get the beginning of college hoops. I just don't know what trumps the fall in terms of sports. Spring is a close second. March Madness, NFL draft, NFL free agency, all that fun stuff. Baseball starts up. Don't get me wrong, NBA, NHL, narrowing down. But we all know football is king, and it remains king. But we might have a new queen in terms of Buccaneer wives, Buccaneer girlfriends, ladies and gentlemen. The more I look into her, Jake Browning's wife, and I know we briefly mentioned her before, very, very nice-looking lady as well. But in terms of coolness, in terms of who she is, I think this gal is going to be one of those who make an impact on Bucs fans. Some people in Cincinnati, she really grew a following. She kind of does one of these things where she supports her husband greatly and she wears a different Bengals outfit. Now it'll be a different Buccaneers outfit weekly, but she's also cool. It's like not only a Brittany Mahomes where she tries to big deal it. If you look at her Instagram, like just yesterday, she posted their wedding invitations, and she actually makes stuff. You could tell in their home, she kind of has a studio where she makes the invites, she makes the creativity, she makes the labels. So it's kind of like a cool version of Brittany Mahomes. I'm looking at it like, because she's not only, yes, a little bit loud and over the top, perhaps, but to me in a good way. But Zach, she's being productive here, and it looks like she at one point last year made a montage video with like 20 Bengals wives walking up. They were calling each other the mob wives and stuff. So it looks like she took the Bengals locker room by storm. We haven't really had a prominent or an in the media Bucs wife since Miko Grimes, I feel like. And that, well, Giselle doesn't count because she is no longer a Bucs wife. She's a Bucs ex-wife. So there you go. But, we had Brent Grimes' wife just be a loudmouth. But, Zach, this seems like a breath of fresh air, perhaps, and maybe it could provide a fun spark in the Bucs locker room. I think gals like her and Emily Mayfield will get along well. Godwin's wife. I think they're going to have some fun this year in Tampa with the ladies running the show, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And anytime you get somebody that's excited to be here and wants to, bring the spotlight to the team, it's helpful. We are still a quote unquote small market team. So any type of exposure that we get like this is a good thing. I mean, look what Juszczyk's wife did for him in San Francisco. It kind of increased his popularity. So it's always a good thing. And maybe I think didn't she Juszczyk's wife get some sort of deal where she like has a clothing line now, so there's more products of that. So for those of us like you and I, Tones, that aren't in Tampa, anytime we can get somebody that's to bring in that type of merchandise to the market gives us a little bit better chance of actually finding some. So I'm all for it.
I'm all for it, and that's a great point as well. More lights, more people, more action for outsiders like us. That's always better. More media availability, maybe more items to become available. And what it also does is kind of build up her husband as, hey, he's cool. He's not trying to be here to start, take any, he's cool with his role, backing up Baker, and they're embracing that role. And kind of rare to find a QB with that good of a head and spirits to just come in and be like, I'm going to be the man that backs this place up. And J-Lo, as Zach said, just like Kyle Juszczyk's wife, she has her own jacket brand now. She makes jackets, as Zach said, clothing line. I know she makes jackets for a lot of NFL wives. So here she is, Stephanie Niles, about to be Stephanie Browning. I'm assuming she'll take the last name, but J-Lo kind of taking the world by storm here, the football wise, and really loading up here for Bucs fans, hopefully.
No, couldn't agree more. Really good exposure, especially for us, for the most part, with her stepping in, want to be involved, especially how bad she is and stuff like that when it comes to her finance. But anyway, long story short, I enjoy the exposure, and, even her husband, who's our backup quarterback now, I'm fine with that. So interesting.
Joey, I know we met Mrs. Quiddy Pay when Quiddy Pay was a member of the Colts. She was awesome. But do the Colts have any wife leaders in the locker room or social media type figures where one of the Colts players are kind of married to one of these cool cats? I mean, they're all cool cats, but one that kind of goes above and beyond to make a presence felt.
Real quick on Browning, I actually do remember from Colts Bengals a few years back. It was when he was in his hot streak. He had an okay game that day. They beat us, but they showed her like crazy. She was like in an all silver kind of like one-off thing, and they showed her quite a bit because he was in that hot run. But when it goes to the Colts,
and that's funny, Joey, real quick. I think that outfit she wore like Jake Browning's girlfriend on her pant leg. That was hilarious.
Yeah, no, she was definitely in the scene there for a little bit during that hot streak, and obviously it stayed with it. Colts wise, whenever I go to games / social media, for example, I mean, he's not on the team, but Pat McAfee's wife is on a lot of
Very
stuff.
good point.
She doesn't really put herself out there in the media as much since they have one kid and then another on the way. But she's kind of sticking out as she's in the suite always with the McAfee crew and all the show, and then the show members' wives, since they kind of all live in the area. In terms of players, obviously the owners, we kind of talked about them a little before the show. We know the one owner is always on the sideline, Carly, the main boss.
Yeah, I feel like Carly has that little bit of oomph to her, like a, big, larger than life type presence.
She's more of the gym. The Kaylee, the other daughter, is more of the social media. She went to Indiana U, so she was big into the Hoosiers run. And I'm trying to, in terms of interesting things with the wives, really the only one in terms of social media that stood out was actually not even a very well-known player. He's actually on NFL Network now. He was a defensive end, Isaac Rochelle. He's jumped around like 6-7 rosters, but his wife, like every day on social media, was doing something kind of on Instagram, and he played for us for one season. So off the top of my head, she stands out the most in terms of the Instagram, social media, Vines type presence. But there's a lot of them on the sidelines during game day. As Tones knows, we usually sit in the corner where they come out. So always get to see a lot of the families, kids, wives, and stuff like that when we're there too.
Yeah, again, Mrs. Pay was nothing but a great lady to jib-jab with, and she was very cool. And speaking of ladies, Olivia, happy Sunday, squad. Happy Sunday to you. We love our lady listeners. Bucks visit Deion from ex-Falcons, Deion free agent. Yes, that did happen a couple of days ago. D'Angelo Malone, former third-round pick for the Atlanta Falcons, edge rusher and special teamer, visited the Buccaneers, has a handful of career sacks, 4 or 5 over 3 years, missed all of last year due to injury. We will get into him in a second, but as I put a bow on the future Mrs. Brown and the fiance that leads a place for the Bucs, Stephanie Niles is her Instagram. She already has Tampa in her bio, guys, with the heart. That just goes to show she is happy to be here. And it was no hard feelings with the Bengals either. This is how classy she is. And it seemed like Browning was getting ran out of town. We know he didn't have a great year there this year, but she goes, last fit check of the season, who effing day, with a bunch of orange and white hearts. So, you know, some fiancés or ladies out there get a little bitter when things don't go their way with the husband. She was the exact opposite. She showed nothing but appreciation all the way up until the end of Cincinnati. And she's already posted a couple of Bucs posts. She said, consider that ship boarded. I see J-Lo likes that picture already. My man knows what's good. So there we go. And then I see her posting a picture with her and her husband smiling, signing the contract for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. So just cool stuff out of a lady. Joey, our buddy Cadillac, follows her. He knows what's up. So for those looking for a fun fiance to follow who's going to pour their heart and soul in city of Tampa, go over to Stephanie Niles, the future Mrs. Browning, because she shows a lot of cool stuff behind the scenes too. It's kind of like getting a behind the look. Hey, what's this NFL couple like behind the scene? Bang! She puts it right on there for the people. Speaking of BAM for the people, real quick, before we get into this visit and other Bucs news, that Levante David press conference and all those media appearances, I mean, they're doing a great job, Zach, of really putting a bow onto Levante's career. He's going to have the I Am That Man documentary come out in the fall, it looks like, a Bucs social media team / whoever helps run the show between the In the Currents and the Amazon documentary did a tremendous job. And not only that, they're giving him the proper social media recognition. I mean, they're still posting daily, multiple times a day about Levante David. It's just really good to see, like, this pairing right off into the sunset, as I just alluded to with the fiance. Sometimes things get ugly, Zach. This is nothing but a beautiful send-off on both sides.
Yeah, and you know, I think what they're doing is they're really trying to help his bid to get into the Hall, because we keep hearing that, oh, he's a Hall of Famer, but he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. But when you look at his numbers against some of the guys that have gotten in on the first ballot, his numbers are better, and that's what should speak for itself. But it's not. So the team has done a good job here lately, last couple of seasons, to really kind of make him out there forefront. Now they're giving him all the exposure. Don't be surprised if he goes into the Ring of Honor super quick, so that he also has that on his resume by the time that Ira is making the pitch, if he's still the guy. I hope not, but he might be the guy. I mean, he took so long to get Rondé in the Hall, man, and I just don't I don't understand it. But you know, they look at a lot of things off the field as far as accolades, and I don't understand why that outweighs what he did on the field. Because when you put his numbers up against Wagner and Kuechly, I mean, Levante's numbers are a little bit better. So that's all that should matter, but it doesn't seem to be. So it's good that they're putting this kind of campaign out there for him.
And Zach, to piggyback off you, not only he was neck and neck with the modern day greats that played in front of our eyes, right? Like you said, Kuechly, Wagner, Demario Davis. By the way, the fact that all 4 of them were drafted in the same draft, holy crap. Talk about potentially the best linebacker draft class ever. But Zach, he's neck and neck with our own Derek Brooks, with Ray Lewis, with Brian Urlacher. I mean, I went to a Cubs game with buddies yesterday. They're both Bears fans around this area. And they were like, man, like they knew Levante because of my Bucs fandom, obviously. But they're like, you know, if you weren't our buddy, we'd never hear of this guy. And they're like, the more we dig into this guy, Zach, the more and more why it's clear to us how good of a player he was. But here's people in Chicago, such a big media, without little old me, they would have never even heard of him because the recognition is just bullshit for some players, but even they admitted he should be getting a call from Canton when it's all said and done.
Yeah, if he would have played with the star on his helmet, this wouldn't even be a conversation because of the exposure that guy's getting Dallas, even though he might not have won anything, just because of the market that he plays in. I mean, he's got a Super Bowl championship. They talk about he doesn't have all pro this or Pro Bowl that. Well, first of all, the Pro Bowl is a freaking joke anymore. So we need to stop using that as any sort of measuring stick. And then the all pros, I don't understand what they're looking at there, because when you look at Levante's numbers, they're always up there with the guys that make the team, and he's not making the team. So it doesn't make sense to me how he's not there. But it's like I said, it's nice to see the team is kind of rallying behind him. And I think we're going to see 54 in the Ring of Honor within the next 3 seasons.
Yeah, and it's getting a little crowded now. He's definitely going to get in. I think they could even do it this year, but I think Gene Deckeroff makes it a little more complicated, not in a bad way, but in a good way. We need to honor Gene, and we know it, not cursing or jinxing anyone, but we know our loved ones with age. You got to get them in while they're here, because if you put someone in the Hall of Fame when they're not here anymore, it's just not the same. So we got to send off Gene this year, and not that it's his time anytime soon, but God forbid, you never know. J-Lo, quick thoughts. I do agree, but kind of just beautiful thing to see, this people recognizing Lavonte David for who he really is. Gerald McCoy is beating that drum like crazy. Just awesome stuff here from a lot of people around the world of football and fans of football.
No, absolutely. And plus he's been on a bunch of shows throughout the week. He's been on I believe Kay Adams' show. He was on that one. He was on a couple other ones. So he's definitely getting some exposure for sure. And then can't wait to see the documentary. But I do agree with y'all, as far as, the recognition, Hall of Fame. I mean, he's Hall of Fame worthy. I mean, I just don't see why people would question that. Just look at his numbers, like we just said. Yeah, he was on some bad football teams when he first started his career, going in toward the end of it. But he does belong in the Hall of Fame. The Ring of Honor, I do agree. Decroft should go first, and then I think Lavonte will be the next one in line to get it. I say in a couple seasons. So, but the good thing is he's getting the exposure now, and I'm glad the fans are rallying to help push that, for the most part, because obviously Ira's not going to get it done. You can't trust that man. He's donkey duty. So shout out to Lavonte David, and like I said, I'm confident he'll get in the Hall of Fame, first ballot too.
Well, and as we talked about last week, Ira was already making excuses on why it might be hard to get him in. It's like less excuses, more dedication. We love you, Tom. Come on, Ira, do better. But Joey, thoughts on, legends kind of getting the proper send-off they deserve. And not only that, it is draft season. We do have media appearances on our hands for the Buccaneers, seemingly from coach and GM. Any word on if Steichen, Ballard, those guys will meet with the media anytime soon for the Colts? Or, is it kind of still evaluate and see, because the Colts are without a first-round pick this year as it stands right now?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll eventually speak to the media again. They did during the combine. Both of them spoke. So I'm sure once we get a little bit closer to the draft, we'll hear from them as well. But as we all know, before the draft, you're not getting too much. They're keeping things close to the vest. So people could, yes, we interview players just like every team does. And you might feel that by position, this guy goes there, that the draft can fall a million different ways. So really, I don't dig into that as much. But when it comes to, and you guys talk about Lavonte David in that manner, obviously he has to wait till, some years go by before he's eligible. But right now, Reggie Wayne is going through the process of where he's getting
Rondé Barber.
Yeah, he's getting kind of stuck, Reggie Wayne, right now, because the problem is his numbers, just like Lavonte's, are off the chart. But when you look at these receivers who come in, and this is where, to me, popularity in a guy like Lavonte or Reggie could get a little bit hosed, is they sit in the room and then a new name comes in or some big star. And it's like, damn, okay, that person's really deserving. Yes, I get it. They're probably better than Reggie, but it's like every year that might happen, whether it's like Torrey Holt, Larry Fitzgerald, names go on and on, where I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but sometimes then at the end of the day, all these people in the room give their 2 cents, and they leaned with, the popularity contest type of thing a little bit more. But if you're just looking at numbers and you wipe away, I love when they put up just stats and you can just look at that instead of where they played or what their name is. It's a lot easier to get into the weeds and not, go back and forth. Now, lucky for the Colts, Mike Chappelle, who's been with us for over 40 years, still is. He fights tooth and nail for our players. He'll even get people agitated sometimes, because the big thing with the Colts players, which is different from the Bucs and Levante, because Levante was the linebacker QB of the defenses, they give crap because Peyton Manning was there. Well, Reggie Wayne played also through 7 more seasons after Peyton Manning too. Yes, they were Andrew Luck, but he also played through many more seasons there. So there's a lot of debates. I could go into it way deeper, but at the end of the day, I totally agree that Levante David is up there with the best of the best. But it's just like, okay, if Levante's up there, and if some linebacker that has a popular name gets into the same window where they were more seen on TV, they'll probably give it to that guy first, which is not the way it should be, but just the way it is.
Yeah, like Luke Kuechly. Well, he's already in, but a Bobby Wagner type who
Bobby Wagner would be the perfect example. Everyone would, if you ask 10 people not anywhere near the Levante David situation, 9 out of 10 are probably saying Bobby Wagner just because of his name in the Legion of Boom, which, hey, he was great, but that's just the reality.
Yeah, and you know who Levante David might remind me of in terms of his tenure and journey and route trying to get into the Hall of Fame? I personally think Levante David was a better player, but this guy was a legend as well, and it took him a while. I think Sam Mills, a linebacker who got in for the Saints, he got in 2022, middle linebacker. He stopped playing all the way back in 2004. It took him almost 2 decades to get into the Hall of Fame, but he did get in. And again, I fall victim to it. I was one of those guys who was like, was Sam Mills that good? But he played in such an era as such inflated of linebackers. I always knew he was good. But then you look into his stats and kind of break it down, and he's really like a Levante. It's like, man, this guy was amongst the greats when there was Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher, Lance Briggs, Derek Brooks, Shelton Core, all these popular guys. This guy was with the best of them. And I look back, and I took away the names, and I looked at the numbers, and I'm like, he does remind me of a Levante David. So that's kind of my comparison. But I do agree. We'll see what happens. Bobby Wagner, obviously a fan favorite. And as Levante kind of mentioned, B-Shuck in the house. What up, fellas? What up, B-Shuck? Let's give him a round. We love you, miss you, buddy. Hope all is well with you, B-Shuck, battling up for the NFL draft. But real quick, last thoughts as we wrap up this Levante thing. You could hear him kind of keep expressing that as well, right? Hey, I know I don't have the trophy case, or, I know I don't have the Alcala, like the Pro Bowl vote. He knows that he doesn't have a bunch of those things. What he knows is how damn good of a football player he was on and off the field. And I think Bucs fans know that as well. If one guy could be voted on to start getting Bucs players in, I know it's against the rules because he was a former Buck, but Gerald McCoy would be such a fantastic guy to get these Bucs over the top. I mean, especially Levante David. You see him pleading, begging, crying on TV. We need to get this guy in. We need to get this guy in. I really think Greg Allman should be the next one in terms of who kind of does that. Maybe even a guy like Rick Stroud. But J-Lo, thoughts on who might be the next one, and thoughts on what you expect to hear from head coach Todd Bowles speak tomorrow, according to our friends over at Real Bucs Talk. Could be a Levante, could be NFL Draft Talk, but what say you?
No, we'll say Greg Allman will probably the one I agree with, who should be the one to speak. He'll get some of these players in there. Todd Bowles speaking. I know a lot of fans are going to thrash at him. I know there's going to be a lot of negativity than positivity just because everything going on, how the season ended last year. But at the end of the day, he's our coach. He's going to be leading the way this season. Hopefully, this will be the year that we actually get him the right players for his scheme, because his scheme's not working really well. But pretty much, I don't expect much out of him. He'll probably just go into his little basic talk. We're going to get ready for the season. We got plenty of talent on the team, blah, blah, blah. Enough talk. Let's just see it on the field. That's all I can really say. Let's see what players like bringing through the draft to help make his scheme work. If not, then, it's going to be another mediocre season and probably start over.
The great Jimmy Coletta in the house, such a true gentleman joining us, saying, good morning, fellow Buccateers, or hello, fellow Buccateers. Hello and good morning to you, Jimmy Coletta. Also, I love shouting out our Facebook peeps. We got the Godfather tuning on Facebook. We got our guy, Parlay P, over on Facebook, who, by the way, I hope to maybe collab with him a little bit during football season, get some locks, breadwinners in from our guy, Parlay P. If you don't know, he's doing a thing right now, gambling $500 every day. And you could follow his journey over on Instagram at Parlay Pete. And hopefully he keeps building, because that's what we do here on the Buccateers, keep building. And Zach, that's what we hope to hear out of General Manager Jason Licht when he speaks Tuesday, is build, build, build. Continuing to build this Buccaneers team like we have the faith he could.
Absolutely. You know, you have a pattern until you don't. So if he comes out and says, we're looking at moving up, moving down, everything that's on the board, don't get too excited, because we don't really have a track record of that. He's moved up once, I think, for worse, one spot, and he's moved back a couple of times. I don't foresee any moves. I foresee a sticking and picking, and there's going to be some people that are excited about it. There's going to be some folks that are disappointed about it. But all I can say is trust the process. Jason and his team are really good evaluators, and they've had a very high percentage of guys. So even though it might not be the guy that you want, it might be the guy that we need. Look at the whole Emeka thing now in retrospect. Can you imagine if we hadn't have taken him, where we would be at? This wide receiver room wouldn't look nearly as good.
Without him, like we talked the other episode, I forget if you were on or not, Zach. They all blend in at this point, but the double dips and the effectiveness of the double dips and getting Tez Johnson and Emeka Egbuka, which a lot of fans at one point you were definitely on that episode now that I remember. But at one point, people were like, why are we taking two wide receivers? Although Tez was supposed to be a special teams guy. Look at that. Now, all of a sudden we have wide receivers, hopefully number 1 and number 4 in our wide receiver room, thanks to one draft. And for those, Godwin's number 1. Yeah, I think he'll still be the prominent guy, but I mean, in terms of future, it's Egbuka's wide receiver room. You drafted him in the first round. You hope he takes the ball by the horns and he becomes the future of that wide receiver room. And I think Tez will always have a home there as well. He really will have 2 routes. Hopefully it's not the Scotty Miller, Trey Palmer type route where they fizzle out. I think he's going to continue. I think Tez is just such a dynamic player. I think that, you could always find a use for his skill set. Joey, kind of thoughts on, Bowles, Steichen, and Ballard, to me, are in very similar situations. I put Jason Licht in another category because I think he gets one more crack at the egg. If this Bucs regime fails, I think they'll kind of keep Light around. He deserves one more chance at things. But to me, Joey, Bowles, Steichen, and Ballard are kind of, this is make it or break it years for them. What are you looking at when you look into these coaches and GMs, draft seasons here, winner go home type of seasons? How do you expect these 3 gentlemen to come out around draft time, even after draft time, and kind of handle this of, hey, we need to be in the playoffs, or it's probably pack our bags come this time next year?
Absolutely. You have to draft impact guys and have them be ready now. You cannot take people who you project to be a nice, body of work project that take 2-3 seasons, because your ass might be out of a job at the same time. So when it comes to the draft specifically, Senior Bowl is a big one. You move on to guys like that who are more NFL ready in terms of their brain. And then you look at athletes, yes, but you look at athletes who have control of themselves on the field and can fit into schemes right away. Projects are not the answers for people like Todd Bowles, Shane Steichen, and Chris Ballard. Also, there is a ton of free agents still out there. Yes, I get it. Most of the grade A's are gone. I understand. But when we get closer to the draft, you'll see more trades. You'll see more QB movement. You'll see things happen. And then right after, the veteran free agents sign, who are a little more pricey than these cheap deals that you see go around, but they'll be meaningful pieces because they've had impact in the league for such a long time, especially at the edge rush position, which we both kind of need. So there's a long way left in this process. I know some fans might get frustrated here on March 29th, but I've never seen a Super Bowl won in the month of March. So let April play out. Let's get to May. And then once the OTAs happen, that's where your team really is your team. Yeah, sure, there will be injuries, sadly, or a couple additions later on. But once you get to OTAs, you can make a really better assessment of where things stand. And that's what I'll wait to see and do.
Speaking of newbies coming over in free agency, it was El Kadi Muhammad's birthday yesterday. Buccaneers' new defensive lineman / edge. So happy birthday to AQM. We hope you have a great double-digit type year once again. And to piggyback off Joey's point, there are still effective free agents out there. In years past, the Bucs have added guys like Leonard Fournette, Derek Ward, LaShawn McCoy, Antonio Brown, all after July, all in the summer or later. And those guys have really helped the Bucs teams in years past to kind of take that next step. So these guys are never going to end looking at bettering the rosters, improving the rosters, especially with their backs up against the wall. Never go to sleep, never miss a minute, because you never know when a guy like Jason Licht or Chris Ballard might strike gold here in the NFL. And we are here on the Buccateers. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that like button, subscribe button, and turn that notification bell on. We appreciate it greatly, greatly, greatly. Become a Buccateer Brigade member today and receive free merchandise updates and so much more. We have our Bucs coasters about to be shipped out to our guy Puckhead, our guy Ed Rabasa, and we have a couple other members as well who are part of that merchandise. So be sure to join. It's only a couple bucks a month and you get free merch. Are you kidding me? You get free other things. You get shout outs per episode and so much more. So we appreciate Puckhead, Ed Rabasa, and the rest of the Buccateers Brigade keeping us up and running. We also welcome super chats, never expected, always appreciated, and you help us continue the show at Days End. We can't continue without you guys. So we do appreciate it here on the Buccateers podcast, as we always hear great feedback. You guys are different. You talk other sports as well. That's what we do here on the Buccateers. We like to keep things rolling and trucking, and that's why we're going to do Around the Horn here as we kind of wrap up football and go into another sport. We're going to do Around the Horn with fun football topics that are kind of coming out right now. And J-Lo, starting with you, Jets head coach Aaron Glenn already announces Geno Smith as the starting quarterback for the year of 2026, J-Lo. What say you on Pigskin Hot Potato here? You have a minute or less as we're bringing this back to make your case on around why that is or is not a great idea by head coach Aaron Glenn about Geno Smith.
I mean, he's taking a big gamble if you ask me. I mean, let's see, Jets starting quarterback Geno Smith takes me back to 2013, when he was a rookie, when he beat us. I won't forget that. But experience,
Dark days.
I'm telling you, dark days indeed. But I don't expect much out of Geno Smith. I just expect him maybe to play kind of like how these other quarterbacks did last year. I don't see much out of him. He had some kind of spark in Seattle, went to Vegas, kind of just crapped the bed there, fortunately. But, it's just going to be QB1. They're probably going to try to go for another new QB because obviously this one ain't fully talented. But he's gambling because this could be his last year in coaching because the Jets are not very patient. They will fire their coach after the first couple of years. So we'll see how that goes for him. Maybe I create another spark like he did in Seattle, but I don't see it.
Wow, there you go. Perfectly done, J-Lo. 53 seconds when you have a minute. That deserves applause. And speaking of applause, we get more reasons to applause. Our guy B-Shuck with the very generous super chat. We cannot thank the great B-Shuck enough. We're going to give him a little gong plus applause. There we go. We'll call it a gong bomb. That's what we give for super chats now, the gong bomb. So B-Shuck, you got our first ever gong bomb. We do appreciate you, and you're just cause Zach. We'll piggyback it off you. B-Shuck just doing B-Shuck things, the great guy he is. And Zach, you kind of get a Buck-centric based topic for Pigskin Hot Potato. You're a little luckier than J-Lo is. Middle linebacker Jacob Rodriguez gets endorsed by Pewter Report, gets endorsed by Real Bucks Talk. Thoughts on him and how he'd fit at linebacker or any other linebacker that you may put superior to a guy like Jacob Rodriguez in your draft hopefuls?
Only guy I have higher than Rodriguez is Sonny Styles, and unless we move up, Rodriguez is our best shot at getting the next great linebacker on the team. We've been very fortunate. We kind of went from Nickerson into Derek into Levante, so we're going to be looking for the next guy, and I think Rodriguez could be that guy. We just got to hope that the draft falls that way, and the Bucs, share that sentiment. But there are some other guys. I think Hill from Texas is solid. Trotter from Missouri is also solid. Plus Trotter is a former Mountaineer, so that's always nice for me. But ultimate scenario would be we get aggressive and move up and take Styles, and then we have the guy for the next foreseeable future. But I'm not holding my breath on that, but I would be very, very happy with Rodriguez. I think he brings a lot of things to the table, and would fit well into that linebacker room. I'm not going to be surprised if we double dip at linebacker. I think it's one of the positions where we're going to double dip. So him, and then maybe somebody in the later rounds. But wouldn't be a bad way to transition from Levante is with a Jacob Rodriguez.
There we go. And Zach, not too shabby at all. You did just about a minute, little over, but you borrowed time from J-Lo, which is okay because J-Lo was a speed demon. But I mean, a lot of intrigue in the linebacker room, and I think that's what opens it up for the Bucs. And like you said, so many prominent linebackers here in years past, starting with Hardy Nickerson, Shelton Core, even Dewey Selman, way back in the day, Leroy's brother, just a lot of perennial face of the franchise type people that have walked through the 813 streets, that have walked through One Buck Place, that have walked through that Buccaneers locker room. A lot of linebackers would love the chance. Thing, sadly, we were hoping Devin White would take the torch and run with it. He did help us win a Super Bowl, but then the torch dipped in water and fizzled out right then and there. Joey, your topic's going to be a little different, but before your minute gets going, Joey, thoughts on B-Shuck and his amazing super chat, and then the great Gene in the house as well, showing some fire.
Yeah, I mean, B-Shuck's the man. We could probably say whatever we end up doing with that money is a great amount of it due to him. So what a guy. That's hard-earned dollars right there. That's 30 of them that he just chose to give to this great show. So that's all good stuff. And what up, Gene? I blame you for everything because you're a jabroni jackass.
Wow, and Gene the man, and that's all I could say.
He really is.
Joey, we are up. Joey Hausen, he's saying, wow, there we go. Yeah, hey, that's okay. I get taken out of the house and roll. Just don't curse me. Just don't curse me. That's all I can ask for. So.
You're not allowed to be cursed because you actually enjoyed him right from the start, unlike a lot of haters. Now they're turning on it. But anyways, what do we got?
Plus in the house, great friend of the programs, Air Bud Golden Retriever. What an underrated film. Air Bud was fantastic.
Yes.
I remember back in the day watching that many of times. I think didn't they make multiple Air Bud sports movies then? I think, they made a baseball and a football one, if I'm not mistaken. Basketball one. Yeah. I remember that one and kind of going, that's a little ridiculous now. But I'm sure it was still good, but, damn, movies are not made how they used to be, folks. Those Air Bud movies, I remember getting excited to watch those every weekend. And, maybe we'll revitalize Air Bud. Maybe we'll call him Air J-Lo, and we'll put some, airs on J-Lo, and we'll get J-Lo to be the next Air Bud. And, yep, there we go. J-Lo shooting free throws, probably better than the Gators did this tournament, but all good there. Hey, they cost me money. They were my pick'em team, and they lost. Oh, boy.
We're got much credit.
J-Lo's, don't hate me, J-Lo. But Joey, last thoughts on you. Couple of things here. Couple of injuries. Tucker Kraft is right on schedule, according to Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. So he should be ready by the beginning of the year. And Bills head coach Joe Brady says Josh Allen will be good to go for the offseason program. When coaches kind of speak like this early on injuries, do you actually put any faith or stock into those statements, or you kind of just talking up the street?
I'll keep it simple. Who the fuck cares?
Damn. All right.
I don't care what Josh Allen and Tucker Kraft are doing. Yes, they're good NFL players, but they'll be ready for the season, and they're trying to compete with ours for a Super Bowl, so fuck them.
Well, there you go. We do have friends of the program that are Packer and Bills people.
Hey,
so,
kudos. I hope I hope they get healthy, but I'm sure they are. And yeah, I mean, Josh Allen doesn't miss games, so I mean that's just a nothing burger by Joe Brady. And Tucker Kraft, he did get injured. If you want me to add on a little bit in that, I believe it was maybe the first game of the year. It was one of the primetime games off the start. So yeah, good to see their guys back. That's what this time of year is about.
Yeah, so, Bills Mafia Brad, sorry if you're watching. And, Olive, Bretsky, cover your ears. We do appreciate all team support.
Hey, they wouldn't care if my coach Steichen said Daniel Jones is looking great for camp. They would say, who gives a shit to? Just that simple.
Well, there you go. There you have it. But kudos to all our fan base listeners. We do truly appreciate you guys all tuning in here on the Buccateers podcast, as we will be live 4 times a week here, ramping up very soon. The NFL draft will be here before you know it, and our off-season scheduling will conclude, as crazy as that sounds, because we get into season here when the draft starts, and we don't have our official announcement yet. But, oh, wow. Gene,
that's a really bad comment. Look at when John Elway and Peyton Manning won Super Bowls. That's a really bad comment unless it's a joke.
Well, there we go. But evidently you don't care, Joe, because he's a Buffalo Bill. So you don't care about it.
No, that was a different comment now. He's saying the window's closed. We're talking about representing the AFC. That's a whole different topic.
Speaking of representing, we have a lot of good sports being represented, but J-Lo, sadly, Ray's heartbreak has continued the first couple games of the season. They have blown a 7-2 lead, I believe, and then they had a great comeback yesterday, J-Lo, but it fell just short. Your thoughts on Rays baseball thus far, J-Lo? It's only 2 games into a very long season, but bullpen a little concerning to this point, but baseball is in the air, my friend.
It is. I mean, it's something shocking. That's the way the Rays ended it last year. Their bullpen was just terrible. They cannot freaking, keep these batters, off the base. So it's what it is. They didn't make many changes to that, and now they're showing their true colors, and we'll see what happens. I think potentially they got a really good batting lineup. It's just the relievers that gotta, put away these batters and keep our lead. I mean, we're already in a tough division, so that's no shocking. I don't really expect much out of this team. They got ways to go. I think right now we're more focused on getting the stadium deal done. Then we'll start looking into how to make this roster, better. But in the meantime, just going to keep being supportive, and hopefully when I go to a couple games this year, they'll make it interesting and not blow the damn lead. We'll see what happens. But like I said, I'm not throwing the towel just yet. It's only the first couple of games.
Are you more excited to get back to the Trop this year, or were you more excited last year to kind of adventure into new beginnings at Steinbrenner Field?
Truthfully, I feel it was really more convenient when it was at Steinbrenner because it was closer to my home. Didn't have to deal with traffic, but it still wasn't the same as the Trop, because the Trop is where the Rays are really at playing at home. And to me, I feel they're going to get a little bit of a better fan base, knowing that their days are numbered as far as them staying in St. Pete. So I'll be looking forward to going back to the Trop. I will say, especially with the hot weather, it was pretty hot for a while in that outside ballpark last year. So to me, I feel it's more convenient being in AC in the cool. And usually the Trop, they keep it pretty interesting, keep it entertaining, a lot of stuff to do for the kids and all that stuff, and really good deals on, snacks and stuff. So for the most part, it's just to drive over there, man. Just getting over there is a pain in the ass. Just driving over there in the traffic.
Hopefully that'll be fixed soon if they do move next to Ray J, if they do move next to Steinbrenner Field, which it seems like politicians and team owners align are coming together and trying to make that happen. And imagine that area, Zach. You'd have Ray J, you'd have Yankees minor league stadium, Steinbrenner Field, you'd have Tropicana Field right there. We kind of spoke earlier on us outside guys, any exposure is good, any more, Tampa media feel is good. But thoughts on that? I mean, could you imagine? I know they've already had WrestleManias there and stuff, but AEW events, other wrestling events, other big time events, if they have that community built up, 3 stadiums right there, they'll put more bars and hotels and clubs in. This could be a big turning point for Dale Mabry and kind of how it's shaped as we know it.
Yeah, just real quick before I get into that, with spinoffs, there's 14 Air Bud films. So
Holy, all right, I'm behind.
Yeah, so you got some watching to do, fellas. Get out the old VCR, dust off the VHS tapes, and get ready for a Air Budathon. I've been to Dallas. I've been to Kansas City. The Chiefs are the same way. They've got the Royals in the same parking lot. Green Bay kind of has a little bit of a complex going on. I think that's really the wave of sports futures, is to make like this whole campus of events to where you can spend the whole day down there. You show up early to tailgate, you go to the event, and then you spend the evening at a restaurant or a bar or shopping in the area because it's all inclusive, and then you head home. I think that will be a huge selling point for Tampa fans, prospective free agents to come in to see that there's this big community and support there for them. So I think it's a move that has to be made. So, it'd be nice if the Lightning, when they decide to build something new, that they come into that area as well, and it just puts everything in one-stop shopping.
That would be very nice. And you kind of, whether you loved or hated the comments, Mike Evans kind of alluded to, hey, fan experience is part of the reason why he jolted. And maybe if that area drives up, more homegrown fans go to the games, and then we don't have that problem of kind of this whole pish posh of, fandom. Or even if we do, at least more money could be generated and spent into free agency then, because we will be getting more people to come. So benefit either way. And how cool would that be, right? So you got 3 stadiums there. Maybe they turn it, maybe they have a wrestling week where, you either have AEW or WWE kind of take over that area a little bit and kind of shape it up as well. So a lot could be done there. Joey, speaking of a lot could be done, Cubs baseball. We're going to get a lot done this week. I was at the 1914 Club yesterday with our good friends Jimmy, Brian, and Pops, and that was incredible. Bringing the Cubs a win 10-2. I go to the game on Monday. You go back to the game on Wednesday. We're hoping to keep bringing these Cubs some victories. But Joey, thoughts on the Cubs start and the busy week ahead we have at Wrigley Field? That's a problem. Wrigley Field's an incredible atmosphere, as Zach spoke to, but it's so hard to get to from the burbs. But once you're in Wrigley, man, you don't want to leave that place. It's popping.
Yeah, let me reel in my third leg real quick because I love talking about Wrigley Field.
Oh,
Wrigley
boy.
Field's one of the supreme stadiums. J-Lo got to experience it for the first time last year. There's nothing like a good summer game. Now, the weather is a little sketchy. Nothing under the temperatures we're at right now, even if the sun is out, is necessarily a beautiful day for a ball game. But once you get to that May, June, July, it is crisp. It is awesome. And Tones I've experienced it a lot. And the Cubs are paying their players now. We've extended 2 of our better young players, and Pete Crow Armstrong, who is on Team USA for the WBC, and then Nico Horner, who's one of the better middle infielders in all of baseball as well. So I'm very happy because our ownership / GM has decided to really put future money into this ball club, keeping people around. And it's a nice breath of fresh air from the past few seasons where it's been a little bit of everything. So really excited for Cubs baseball. Hope we got to win the series today because we're playing a bad Nationals team, and you cannot lose a series to them. But there's 162 games, which is way too many if you ask me. But baseball purists would totally hate that comment. So I'm looking forward to it. I think this is a year where, first off, go Cubbies. Second off, fuck the Dodgers at all costs. Those are the only 2 things I'm worried about in the National League. If the Cubbies can't do it, somebody's got to take them down. I don't blame them for what they do. God bless them. They need a cap space in baseball. I got another convo, but go Cubs and F the Dodgers.
And I think couldn't agree more, by the way, with all those comments, and welcoming in our guy, Icewater Olson over at Bucs Report. Sup, y'all? Sup, Icewater Olson, the great JT Olson. We hope to get you on during our power hours this year. I know last year we tried. Busy guy you are. Maybe you could come on and hop on this year. Our guy B-Shuck, I've been pretty sidelined with health shit last couple months, so it's good to get back into listening. I'll be here a lot up to and including the draft. And B-Shuck, if you're cool with it, we do a day 3 show. We'd love to have you on for day 3, even for 10 to 15 minutes, get your thoughts, pick apart the draft so far, what you would like to see happen day 3. Let's do it. If you want to hop on with us, I think that would be a lot of fun. And maybe we do that Saturday, maybe like every 10 or 15 minutes, whether it's a fan, a podcaster, a reporter, a media guy, we try and get a new breath of fresh air on and kind of take us through day 3, hang out with us and evaluate, right? So I think that would be fun, Zach. What say you?
Yeah, we could do that for our members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could get Puckhead on from Nebraska. That would be fun. Ed Rabasa could come on. B-Shuck could. That's a great. I'm going to write that down right now. Let's do it. If you are a Buccateers member, you get to hang out with us live that Saturday, day 3 of the NFL draft. That's official, and that's a great idea by our guy, Zach. That's why we have Zach in the house as well. Idea generator and builder, the think tank, we call him. No, I don't, but really good stuff there. Gene shouting out Pops and saying Cubs spring training is fun. So there we go. Joey and I just had some family down in Arizona having some fun hanging out at the ballpark all day as well. But real quick before we get to our next topic and get close to closing out, I think, Joey, you made a good point. Baseball season's a little long, but I think a way they could keep 162 games and keep the traditionalists happy while tacking a week off of the season, you could create doubleheader days. It's kind of America's pastime and baseball's pastime. Once a month, every team on a Saturday or Sunday could host a doubleheader. And if you do that March, April, May, June, July, August, and September, you'd shave a week off the season in general right there. And then you could end the season a little earlier. And then the World Series, when it go as late as it would end, mid to end September instead of October. So if you have doubleheader days, it keeps the traditionalists happy, 162 games, while trimming down the season by 7 to 10 days as well. So that's my idea, Rob Manfred. If you're listening, you don't even care about your sport, I know. So don't even bother. You called your own World Series trophy a stupid piece of metal. So never mind. Actually, never mind. I'm good. Don't use my idea, baseball. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, UFC results, J-Lo. Izzy is done to me. He needs to hang it up. He lost last night as Joe Pfeiffer knocked him out in round 2. Alexa Grasso beat Macy Barber. That's pretty much it for the notables there, J-Lo, from last night's kind of a quiet fight night in Seattle. Terrence McKinley did beat Kyle Nelson as well in the first round, 24 seconds in. I don't know if you watched any of last night, but kind of an underwhelming UFC Seattle event where a lot of people were hoping to see one last flash from Izzy. They kind of got one last knockout for Izzy.
No, Izzy just didn't seem like he was really there. You know what I mean? Like he was there, but it's just not the Izzy we're used to seeing over the years when he was just so dominant at his weight class. So I think he's finished. He can go. I mean, he can retire. I mean, he's made enough money. He can go out there, maybe be like a coach or something, help develop some of the younger youth, MMA and stuff. I think he'd be great for that. Maybe look at WWE as a potential, prospect, to go in there. WWE likes to recruit, people from MMA and bots and all that stuff. So to me, that's more of his future. But shout out to his career. I mean, he's had a hell of a career. Just the way how he came back after losing Alex Pereira, he came back and knocked out Pereira. That's probably one of the most highlights that really caught my attention, especially when he did the little thing to Pereira's son, getting revenge for his son doing it to him. So that to me, shows that Izzy's just checked out. He's done. And then the other guy that beat him, he's got a good future. Give him a couple bigger fights, and he'll be in the championship bout soon.
Zach, we had AEW Collision last night, as we do every Saturday. I don't know if you were able to catch any of that, but thoughts on some of the bigger results. You had Megan Bain and Lena Cross defeat Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron to retain their title belts. Over there, you also had John Moxley and Daniel Garcia take down the Private Party, and then the Brawling Birds and Mina defeated Nixie XS, Amina Belmont, and Haven Harris. Over there, you had a segment with Kyle Fletcher happen backstage. Tommaso Ciampa defeated Ace Austin. Aussie Open defeated the Rascals as well. And then Okada defeated Kevin Knight to retain the AEW International Championship as well. So it was an action-packed collision, but on an action-packed Saturday night that some people might have missed.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to catch it, but I'm not real big into collision. I don't think it really moves the story or the needle too much. But based off of that, Kyle Fletcher is probably about to make the leap into the heavyweight picture soon, and rightfully so. That kid is money. They got to get that belt off Okada, man. He's had that belt for what, 2 years, Joey, if not longer.
It's been a while.
Yeah, like he does not lose singles competitions. I don't know if it's in his contract or what it is, but I think I've only seen him take a pin, maybe twice, and they've been in like trios matches or something. But they really got to get that belt off him and let somebody else have a little bit of a run with it. But other than that, the pay-per-view is what Dynasty, I think is what it's called, is looking good. Unlike the Mania card has just not impressed me this year. I hope that doesn't hurt your feelings too much, Joey. But
I disagree, but that's fine.
SmackDown the other night was rough. There were three run-in finishes, and on the same show where it was very similar. They had outside interference on I think three of the matches. So I don't know.
Maybe
I feel like
maybe they're missing Road Dogg's creativity because I know they let him go and he helped.
They could be.
SmackDown.
TKO purchasing WWE is really kind of raising its ugly head right now. I feel like they don't really care about the product. Unfortunately, they only care about the profit, and I think we're seeing some of that, unimaginative. I just read something that a buddy of mine shared with me the other day. I don't know if you've seen this yet, Joey, but every championship in WWE is held by somebody over 40 years old, which is old WCW.
That is insane. And Zach, to piggyback off your point, to plug Cleve and Me, we did talk about this on the other episode of Cleve and Me, and Gene kind of alluded to the same thing. He was kind of saying how, right now they're kind of going for the viral moments instead of kind of going for the solidifiable, but hard to blame him because you do get clicks and views, which equates to money, and that kind of seems to be TKO's thing, which leads us into Road to WrestleMania. And Joey, what are your thoughts on the buildup of SmackDown? Yeah, that is kind of Vince McMahon-esque copy and paste in the end results too, right? 3 run-ins. So thoughts on that, Joey? March Madness cooking up. I know a lot of U of I faithful is happy and so much more. Joey Jabroni is all ice, no whiskey, Gene says.
What up, Gene? And then, Zach, Okada, it's been a couple different titles, but this one over 8 months now currently. And then he also had a long run right before that with a different title. But yes, between the Continental and the International, hard to keep up with the names, but that's where he has been winning. Listen, yes, okay, for the people that love wrestling on a daily basis, I get it if they want to maybe say some things about the undercard for WrestleMania, but if you take the top 4 matches, which I'll name in a second, they would headline any wrestling card in today's business. The 4, Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, is box office main event. Brock Lesnar and Obafemi is box office main event. CM Punk and Roman Reigns is box office main event. And that's 3 of them right there that could easily, if there was one WrestleMania, it'd be impossible to pick which one should main event because they're all that worthy. So I understand, if some people want to give a little bit of flack to things repeating or things happening, I get it. TKO does go for the buck. Just look at ticket prices. My buddy was just at UFC. It's no different. A lot of complaints about the UFC lately. He said they're stuck in mediocrity very badly because of what TKO kind of goes for that dollar. He was literally on the same flight as Joe Pfeiffer on the way home. My buddy was a fan there. This guy main evented the card and won, and he's on the same flight. So TKO in general, the superstars say the schedule is better because wrestling used to go every day. But in terms of how they treat the fans, I can see why there's a lot of ill will with that sentiment for the diehards, because you could buy 4 tickets back in the day under VKM, and you'd get, a few $100 go a super long way. Now a few $100 barely gets you in the door. So I very much understand the people who have issues with TKO, along with myself, because even though I do go to everything still, it does cost more money. That being said, as I always say, it is a business and they can do it. But I'm really looking forward to WrestleMania because I don't think there's been in the 2-night era, which probably goes back, I want to say about 5 years now. These two main events really, it's hard to pick which one is honestly better because of the history of both and where they've been. If you've been watching Raw or SmackDown, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns are top notch. Alluding to the last point with Zach about champions over 40, yes, there is a lot of that right now. It happens sometimes that way, and TKO definitely wants their biggest names who've had the most money power to be up there. So, yeah, that is happening, but they're healthy at least, and they're wrestling, and it's not like you're watching Goldberg versus Undertaker in Saudi Arabia getting injuries. Roman Reigns is amazing at what he does. CM Punk, people can go both ways, but he's actually been injury-free for the past couple of years now, knock on wood. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton are two of the best to ever do it and will continue to do that for the next few years. So, yes, of course, I could see where some things would come into play. But I love how they have the first hour of each night for free on ESPN and ESPN2. That is where they could show off their show and maybe make people pay the ridiculous price. Hint, hint, there's other ways around that. We all know it for that type of
We
stuff.
know they're going to make the entrances damn near 30 minutes long, though, to clog half that. Oh, you get a free hour. Oh, no, you get an entrance.
That's why I think
Meduzzi.
Yeah, the entrances could be long. I mean, if you ever look at an Undertaker entrance, it's quite the theme. But it does take its time. That's why I said it over and over again. On Sunday, when everybody's on their ass, start with Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. People will think that's a UFC fight. They won't even really think about it as WWE because they are two behemoths in the ring. And the last thing you mentioned, Final Four, it's in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium. My bias says it's the best stadium on planet Earth. But a lot of people do say it is a great place as they host a lot of things. Shout out to my Illini fans. They'll be going to the game who went to school there. And it's going to build for exciting times. I'm looking forward to watching the games with you today.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun Sunday. Our guy B-Shuck, another super chat. This is just epic.
I need to find out what his job is because I need to apply.
The gong bomb. And what
B-Shuck's job is just being an absolute gangster. That's what B-Shuck's job is.
He's the Godfather from WWF. That's what that's what we'll call B-Shuck, the Godfather. The wrestling discussion, that is. We love having you a part of the wrestling discussion, B-Shuck. We do talk wrestling on our Pigskin and Pile Driver show as well. Zach's been on that. J-Lo, Joey, and I run that. Gene's been on that. That's a fun weekly show we do to continue to talk wrestling. Gene coming at Lucas Oil saying the stadium looks like a Sam's Club. Wow. How do you
I don't
feel
think they
about
serve free samples there, though, man.
What'd you say, Zach?
Said I don't think they serve free samples there, though, like they do at Sam's Club.
That's just, that's a guy that's never been there judging a book by its cover. Gene, you should actually get inside the stadium and sitting in your little computer room with your extra medium rock t-shirt, okay?
Holy, there we go. But Zach, you did make a good. I didn't realize that is kind of crazy. The amount of over 40 peeps brought up holding the title. Cody Rhodes is 40. Penta's 41. I didn't realize he was that dated. Sami Zayn's over 40. The Usos are truth. It does go on and on.
There's nobody on that list though that can't do it is more of what I was trying to get at.
I agree, but AEW got a lot of hate just a year or two ago for having a lot of quote.
Hey, I love the veterans. I know you're not talking about me, but I love when the veterans win, and people knock me on that all day. As long as they can still do it, I'm fine with it. But yes, let's get some younger belts. I think you'll see that in the near future as we roll over to a new year, but I'll shut up on the topic.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying, Joey. I just pointed out because the folks on social media always like make fun of it until it happens at WWE, and then it's groundbreaking and revolutionary. That's only reason I brought it up.
Yeah, no, my point, I agree with you, Zach. That's why I stop with the Twitter when people will say, look at all these likes or dislikes. I don't give a shit what people comment on our Twitter or YouTube, because me and you, I like my veterans in both businesses. I stay consistent. You like your in-ring wrestling, and you talk about that all the time as you're consistent. The people on social media are not. That's why I don't care about what people say about YouTube likes or comments. It's all nonsense.
And the Danhausen thing, real quick, J-Lo, before we get your thoughts, kind of the perfect example, right? He was in AEW, and when he went to WWE, everyone's like, who's this idiot goofball? Da, da, da. We don't need. And then one day later, everyone's like, this guy's a man. This guy's awesome. It's like, you were just making fun of the guy because he came from AEW, and now all of a sudden your average WWE fan has his T-shirt hanging up in their closet. So it's just, the brand supremacy stuff. I never quite understood it myself. The more wrestling, the better. So that's how I'll always view it. But J-Lo kind of put in a bow on all that thoughts and other B-Shuck Super Chat, wrestling talk, and so much more before we get to our breadwinners and final words. And then Zach might have a little bit of an exciting guest to announce for our Tuesday show as well.
I will say, as far as the wrestling business goes, I'll be tuning into WrestleMania. I just wish they never left Peacock. It's kind of ridiculous. I got to pay $30 for ESPN's crap or whatever. I'll probably end up throwing money in their little pocketbooks, whatever, when WrestleMania comes around the corner. It's coming soon. But I will say, as far as the guys in their 40s carrying the title, just enjoy it while it lasts now, because sooner or later they're going to end up like Undertaker. Some of these guys that just can't really do as much as they used to anymore. I am getting a little burned out by Cody being a title holder. No respect, Joey. I think, he's had his moment. I think it's time to put somebody else in that conversation, but I know they're trying to get everything he can before he retires. Because I think he said he's got a couple more years or 3 left in him. I think he said the next contract he signs will be his last one, and then he's done. So that'll be interesting to see. And I'm trying to get into AEW. I'm trying to watch it. I'm doing the best I can. I enjoyed the Swerve Strickland and Omega match. Omega, thank you. I actually enjoyed that match. It's catching my interest. And like you said, Tones, Danhausen, very, very interesting guy. He's making me motivated to curse, some of my worst enemies around the world. You are cursed.
Well, I hope it's not me. I don't need to wake up curse, that's for sure. But
just certain people on my job, they get on my damn nerves. I'm like, hey, that's it, Danhausen. You are cursed.
Maybe the rest of the NFC South, you could curse them if you want. That would be nice.
And Jordan would be nice too. Curse him too.
Yeah, no, just keep it piling. We'll 100-person list on who to curse. But I agree. B-Shuck saying that's funny. And then Gene continuing to poke Joey, saying, I thought Cody finished his stupid journey. Joey, final thoughts on that before we get to our breadwinners /
I shouldn't even really do it, because a guy like Gene would talk about how Cody made this great journey from AEW to WWE, and it's a great climb to the top now because he's the QB1. People hate greatness right after. This is the problem in all wrestling industries. When they want a guy to get to the top of the mountain, they cheer it like crazy. Yes, I'm looking at Gene specifically. And then once they're at the top for a while, we need somebody new. No. Just don't wash your hands and get over it. This is a growing process and things happen. Do you not realize Cody Rhodes, yes, he's main evented now. This will be his 4th or 5th time, but he's lost most of those times he's been in the main event picture. He freaking lost to John Cena and Travis Scott last year. Roman Reigns, he was 1-1. I'm not making my prediction on this show yet, but I don't have a good feel right now if he will win at this Mania. So the jabroni jackasses out there like Gene, who prided this guy and tickled his twine to Cody Rhodes to get to the top of the mountain because Vincent Kennedy McMahon never let it happen. Now everyone's being a hater. It's just like when everybody now will go, oh, Tiffy time. Where is she at? Where's the storylines? You complained when she was a champion for a year. Now that she's off for a year, you're going off on it. Let's look at another star, Jade Cargill. Everyone's hating on her right now. I could have told you that months ago that she couldn't speak on the mic. But then finally, once they get there, the people complain. So these people are two-sided, two-faced. look at the Batman movie Two-Face. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's total hypocrisy by Mr. G.
And it tickled his twine, getting a laugh out of B-Shuck. And Gene saying he's the final boss.
It's all love. It's all love.
You got to go through Gene, I guess. He is the final boss, allegedly. So there we go. But speaking of going through, speaking of finals, speaking of awesome, I know, Zach, you ain't a big breadwinner guy. So while we do our breadwinners, I'm going to give you the floor on sharing who our next guest is on Tuesday. This is going to be an incredible one if it comes to fruition, and I'm very excited for it, my friend.
Yeah, so we're going to be adjusting our schedule a little bit, and Man Cave Mondays are going to be moving, so I'm going to have to come up with a new name for the show because Man Cave Mondays brought to you on a Tuesday just doesn't have the ring to it. But I just got some confirmation that Tuesday we're going to be going a little bit later on at 7:00. But the one and only Big Nasty will be joining us as we talk Bucs and memorabilia. And I'm sure that gentleman has quite the stories of Bucs history and situations that we've probably never been a privy to. So looking forward to that. Should be an exciting time.
And Zach, he was in the Raise the Flags documentary as well. He got his own little shout out there. J-Lo, thoughts on a guy like Buck Nasty joining the show? This is kind of the poster child for Bucs fans. I mean, this guy has a huge following. He's in the NFL Fan Hall of Fame over in Detroit. So J-Lo, this is a class act. Yeah, two-time. Not one, not two. Two-time Hall of Fame.
No, I mean, that's awesome, man. I met him many times. He's just a great dude. I mean, I was in New Orleans a few years ago in 2017. I was just eating brunch, and all of a sudden he came out of nowhere and said what's up to my boy, and I was like, oh shit, without the the war paint and all that stuff on, I knew who he was. And I was like, oh, thanks, man, and he was just super chill. And then he was cool to my daughter, my older one. I took her to her first Bucs game, took a picture with her. Just a great guy overall. So I'll definitely be tuning into that, and other people watching, tune in. The guy's got stories for days. Just a great guy overall. Just one of the biggest Bucs fans you'll ever meet in your life. The dude was just dedicated, and he was the right person to put in the Raise the Flags documentary because his history is just incredible. So that's an awesome announcement. Awesome.
It is. And B-Shuck, you're right. That's what Zach said. Some people call him Big Buck Nasty. It's normally Big Nasty, but some people sprinkle the Buck in to kind of tie him to the Bucs fan base a little bit. But it is technically Big Nasty, but some do call him Big Buck Nasty as well. So Big Nasty joining the show, 7 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday night. That'll be exciting. Joey, thoughts on that? And give us your breadwinner. First breadwinner of the new season is coming here until August. We'll do these breadwinners until August. So far, we're 3-0 in seasons of breadwinners. So if you guys listen to us, you're winning some money.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to you all right now because I'm going to try to come hang out with you and watch that Cubs game and March Madness. It's going to be awesome. So congrats to getting that guest. Big Buck Nasty, Big Nasty. I'll be tuning in for sure. Don't miss it. Tuesday, like, subscribe. Make sure you get that notification bell to be all in on the Tuesday fun. My breadwinner tones will take it to college basketball. I like the over in Tennessee, Michigan of 146. Michigan is in a lot of higher scoring games generally. Tennessee's had a good run to this point. You are one of the people who like them as well. So I like the over in Michigan, Tennessee. And then my walk-off would be, hopefully we're getting a little bit more out of this weather as we get more to summer baseball weather. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't mind the off-season as much. I know a lot of people are probably like, things are crawling in football. That's okay, because once we get to week 1, everything goes by so fast. We're right back in the position we are now. So everybody enjoy their Sunday. Stay blessed. Don't be on the streets doing crazy things, and enjoy it all. And, yeah, I can't wait for the next episode and everything that comes with it. And Cody Rhodes for life, brother.
Wow, Cody Rhodes for life. There we go. And thank you. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be seeing you next week on Pigskin and Pile Drivers, and I'll be seeing you soon as well. J-Lo, breadwinner for you, my friend. Joey's choosing over in Tennessee, Michigan, 146.
I'm gonna go with the Lightning over the Predators. We got Nashville coming in. The game's at 5:00. Stamkos making a return to Tampa Bay for I think a second time now to play the Lightning. So I like the Lightning at home. I believe Bassey will not be in goaltending today. It'll be the other gentleman. I can't get his name top of my head right now. So, but I still think the Lightning will pull out the win.
And they're at minus 195, so 20 would win you 12 there. I'm gonna go with Astros, and they have their new rookie pitcher over from Asia coming in to pitch. He's a high prominent figure. A lot of people going after him in the media in a good way, intrigued by him. He is named Tatsuya Imai. Tatsuya Imai is on the mound for the Astros today, and I like their chances behind Imai on the bump. $20 would win you 12. It's always exciting when you bring in a guy from Cuba or Japan or Korea or somewhere else in baseball, and America gets to watch their talent on display. So be on the lookout for Tatsuya Imai's talent today. Zach, walk-off, final words for the program, brother, on this beautiful Sunday Funday.
No, nothing much. Just enjoy the weather before you got to start yard work, because that's slowly creeping upon us. I know it's a huge albatross for me. Hopefully, some of you might not have to do that. But I also live in a very competitive neighborhood, so as soon as the first person fires up the lawnmower, we all secretly hate them and then have to mow our own grass. So other than that, looking forward to Tuesday. Tuesday should be a hell of a show. So make sure you're tuned in. Make sure you've got those, like Joey mentioned, like and subscribe so you don't miss the notification for that, because it's going to be a good one.
Going to be a great one with Big Nasty on Tuesday, or Big Buck Nasty, whatever you might refer to him as. Rochelle and Dave watching us over on Facebook as well. J-Lo, thoughts and final words for the show. As Zach said, just enjoy the day and fire up that lawnmower if you need to. Beat the neighbors.
Well, I don't know about lawnmower, but I got my toddler. I'm going to take to the zoo in about an hour, spend a couple hours with her there, get some daddy-daughter time in there, because, that's part of the job. but I'll be tuning into the Rays game. Hopefully they'll play better, go out there and get a win for Christ's sake, get the fans excited for the Trop return in a couple weeks. And just stay safe, and enjoy the weather down here in Florida, because sooner or later that oven's going to crank up in about a month, and we'll be right there in the 90s to where I'm going to keep my happy ass in my house.
We're not far away from preseason football at Ray J, where it's 100 degrees in August and you're sweating out the booze from the night before, the food from the night before, and all that good stuff. We couldn't have done this show without B-Shuck. Thank you for the super chats, B-Shuck. Way too kind, way too generous. Shout out to everybody else who is in the house watching with us. Dave, Rochelle, Gene, Parlay Pete, Olivia, everybody else who tuned into the program, Bucks, Rays, Bolts as well, Icewater, Olson, Pless, everybody in between. Just a phenomenal show. On behalf of Zach and I, we'll be back Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern with Buck Nasty. That's going to be incredible. Bucks Hall of Famer. J-Lo, we'll see you on the other side very soon as well, brother. Everybody, fire the damn cannons and enjoy your Sunday fun day. We out. Enjoy March Madness, baseball, hockey, and the rest of it. We'll put it like that. What's it like? I was actually there in attendance in Cleveland for Coe's first career NFL touchdown, which was awesome. And,
Awesome.
It was a great game. You could hear me on camera. I was just screaming, "Say it ain't so, Coe! Say it ain't so!" Sadly, from there, the game kind of went off the rails a little. That was the last high moment of that game, but it was a great game. Overtime loss, fun time.
Yeah.
How was that moment for you? Seeing the first, whether it was on TV, in person, wherever you were, seeing his first NFL touchdown. How was that?
Well, dude, I mean, we were at home because it was a away game. We don't travel to a lot of the away games because we can get into that later. But, to watch that and to think I wished I was there live. So to have your video was so cool. And just that, hey, this is so cool. I mean, that was so cool for us. Catching it from Tom Brady, right? Like, he's got the ball yet. I mean, first NFL touchdown means a lot, right? I mean, as a dad, that's just so cool to see. It was fun to watch. And, I didn't have the still the same. What a memory! What a memory to have, right? So,
And honestly,
cool.
those one of the best guests ever, the Buccateers in the house tonight. You guys hear him on Tampa radio all the time. He's one of the best in the business. My favorite personal in the business. That's why I'm elated tonight. Growing up in the Chicago area, you're used to sports radio. That's what gets me through the day. So this man does help get me through the day, I will say, with the Pat and Aaron show at work. Nothing like it. So it's incredible. It looks like we got Stunna bumbling in. I'm Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat
It looks like
Donovan.
Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like you got a little.
No, my camera's broke.
And he was trying to pull me in big time. And then I was like, nothing's happened with Indianapolis yet. Like, I really want to give Indy a chance. And then also I talked to Cody Gruden, once he took over Richard McCann, and still like, well, look, I was like, y'all just give me the opportunity to explore free agency, see what's going on, and then kind of make us do it.
All right, everyone, you are tuned into the Buccateers at wide receiver, Kalen Geiger, and we are about to have a great pod. This is the Buccateers. You're tapped in, and here we